Hey, what's happening, everybody? Hope everybody's having a good day. It's a beautiful day here in Indiana today. So I got another video I wanted to do, and it's all about the grieving process. I like to try and help as many people as I can. So just throwing out the tools and tricks and tips and whatever you want to call them that I know, just to help you get through the process. If you are going through a grieving process at the moment, just know you're not alone. We're all in this together, man. So um, when you're ready to stop crying and and being depressed, and you're ready to move on with your life, there's some things you can do to help. That are super beneficial. So it's all natural. It's all part of it. We all go through it. But at a certain point, you gotta pick yourself up and get back at it. The time keeps moving, so you got to keep moving with it. So with that being said, what I'd like to, I think it's all a mind, body, and soul connection. Honestly, it's all, and we're all part of nature, so it's all connected. So what I like to think you would do is just mind, body, and soul in that order, really. First of all, you got to come to grips with it mentally. Wrap your head around what's going on and what happened, and just come to grips with it, for you know lack of a better term. And so so then you got to pick yourself up and dust yourself off and get back at it. You got to start taking care of yourself. So the number one thing I can see that helps is just start moving. You got to get out and you know take a walk, get off the couch. People get stuck in that rut, where things are so glum, and you get stuck in that rut, and heck, you don't even take care of yourself. After a while, you don't want to take a shower like you should. You're not doing anything. So it's almost like that whole thing with when you're flying, and if the cabin decompresses and the airbags drop down, and you got a little kid with you, they say put your mask on yourself first before you help somebody, before you help the child. People think, well, oh, that's just cruel. No, you have to take care of yourself before you can do anything, contribute to society, before you can help anybody else. And ultimately, that's what you need to do, is take care of yourself first. So, moving, that is the biggest thing. And if you're not familiar with me, I used to be really heavy, packed on a ton of weight. I can contribute that to, of course, drinking forever. But the whole thing stems from grieving my losses. So, I like to think that somehow or another there was divine intervention, and I came to grips with what was going on. Quit drinking, but then you start taking care of yourself a little better, and one of the first things, really the only thing I started doing was walking. 20 minutes. If you live out in the country like I do, you can walk 10 minutes away and 10 minutes back. Just walk, not jog. Doesn't have to be tough. And that's the other thing too, is don't be so tough on yourself, man. If somebody came to you and asked you for advice about something, that's the first thing you would tell them is, man, you're being awful hard on yourself. Take it easy. Things aren't that bad. Forgive yourself a little bit. Of course, we've all screwed up and done dumb stuff. We all do. But that's the thing. You got to move on. You got to forgive yourself, and that's the other part of it. The whole forgiving process. It's when you forgive, it's not necessarily for the other person. You're not forgiving them. You can't forget the lesson you learned in whatever you're forgiving, but at the same time, you got to let that go, man. I mean, your mind is your worst enemy. You'll just keep it trapped on a loop, and you'll forever 10 years later you're still beating yourself up about something that the other person's already forgotten about. It's mind-boggling at how we torture ourselves. But so forgive yourself. Don't be so tough on yourself. Start walking. Try to walk every day. If you can walk out in nature, like if you got some woods or something to walk in, perfect. Nothing better for your spirit than to be out on a day and see some nature, the birds chirping in the whole 9 yards, squirrels running around. If you got a park you can walk through, awesome. You see people out walking their dogs and doing all that stuff. If you got dogs to walk, they'll love it. But get out, start moving. And what you'll find is when you start moving, you start feeling better. So then you start treating yourself a little bit better. You'll start eating better. You may even start working out. And that's a whole other thing. If you guys want to talk about a workout program, I mean, I work out a couple times a week. When I say workout, I'm talking lifting weights, resistance training, whatever you want to call it. And there's a million videos on that out there. Oh, the other part of all this is, I'm not selling you nothing. I'm not trying to tell you something you don't need, and all the advice that I try to give anybody is free. It's just most of the time it just takes your time, just like I'm saying, walking. Don't go join a gym. You can if you want to. You got extra money and want to blow it on a gym, cool. I got a home gym. It's nothing fancy, but it serves the purpose for what I need. And really the biggest thing is just to start doing something. And so let's say you start out to walk every day, and then all of a sudden there's a day you don't feel like doing it. Don't do it. Don't beat yourself up about it. Just it is what it is. Take a day off. No big deal. You can only walk a couple times a week. That's cool too. Just you're doing something to keep moving. But like I said, it's that mind, body, and soul connection. And it's all connected, and it all counts. So the other thing you can do is you get out into your community. I mean, these are all baby steps too. You can't just like, okay, I'm gonna start walking. I'm gonna walk to somewhere and do some community service or whatever. Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. Baby steps. So get walking, get feeling better, start eating a little better, start treating yourself better, and then before you know it, you're gonna want to do something. And nothing makes you feel better than giving back to the community. And so I've got a couple little things you can do, again, totally free. They're going to cost you time. But one of them would be you could volunteer at any nursing home. And so there's thousands of nursing homes in every state. And so I've spent quite a bit of time in them. I've worked in them, and I've also done some other things entertainment wise. I've been a musician for most of my life, and so I'll go in there, and there for a long time it was a side hustle for me. You can even do that if you want. I would go in and play guitar and sing for an hour, and they'd pay you for it. Most nursing homes have a budget, and so they set aside some money to entertain the folks that are there. But honestly, there's some of them that don't have a budget, and they're the ones that need it the most. So in those situations, I wouldn't charge them anything. I would just go in there and play. But you just make their day. And so even if you don't play and you're not a musician, you can still go in there, and there's an activities director in every nursing home. You contact them and say, hey, I just want to come and volunteer and see if I can help out and help you out entertaining these folks for an hour, because they'll play bingo and do all kinds of stuff. But I'm telling you, if you just do that a couple times, that's going to make you feel like $1 million. There's other things you can go around and volunteer to do. But that's just one that comes to mind just because I'm so familiar with it. They have activities like every day. So you can pick a day, make your own schedule, do it at your own convenience. But man, that, like I said, you make their day, and it does so much for you mentally to know that you made a difference in somebody's life. So there's that, and oh, there's what else can you do? Uh, One of the other things I had an idea for was so you don't want to go deal with people, and you still want to do something and give back and feel like you're contributing to society. One of the things you can do, and I wish I could get everybody on the planet to do this. You can make money doing this. It's take the ball and run with it, man. It would be such a great help to humanity. Picking up trash everywhere you look. Now that I say this, you're going to notice it more and more. But you look around, and you'll see that there's trash laying everywhere. People throwing stuff out the window, and I'm guilty, man. I've thrown hundreds of beer bottles out the window back when my drinking days just we live out in the country, so roll down the window, poop. That's ridiculous, man. So now I go around and I pick up trash every now and then, and not as often as I should. But if I'm waiting for an appointment or I'm on a lunch break somewhere or whatever, I'll go around with a Walmart sack and just walk around the parking lot or walk around the building where I am and pick up what a little bit is out there. Whose responsibility is it? Who cares? We all live on the planet. So there's that, just another thing you can do it does something to your self-esteem. You can feel good about yourself knowing you did something. Nobody's even got to know about it. You don't have to share that information with anybody. If you don't have a Walmart sack, um, just keep cruising around until you see one, because they're laying all over the place too. Just go find one, fill it up, take it to the gas station, throw it away. Quit throwing stuff out the window. I mean, it's just mind-boggling. Now that I've been doing this for a while, you'll see full bags of trash sitting out on the side of the road that we drive right past it every day and we don't even notice it. It's like, who does that? Who's setting trash out? But anyway, that's a whole other thing. But that's just another thing that you can do to give back to society. That's giving back to the planet, giving back to everybody that lives here. Like I said, we're all in this together. So it doesn't cost you anything. And let me know, is there other things that you can think of that you could do to volunteer? I mean, you could volunteer doing all kinds of stuff at YMCA's and different places like that. Just give a little bit of your time to somebody, help out, some kids or something, coach a team. There's all kinds of stuff you can do, and it really is rewarding. But it gets your mind off of the grieving process, gets you out of the house. Super beneficial for everybody involved. It's nothing but a positive thing, and it doesn't cost you a dime. That's the big thing. So anyway, that's kind of, I just want to share some of that with you guys, and hopefully you get something out of these videos. If you can leave me a comment, let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and just be kind to each other. Again, doesn't cost you a thing. Thanks, guys.